comment with a couple of remarks because I think it's important that people know our process. We take public comment, and then as the mayor, if there's something that I can add or have staff add immediately at the end of public comment, I like to do that. And we can then share a little information without it becoming a back and forth and a dialogue, but also connect people so that if you do have questions, you know who to contact in our city staff or the council. So I did want to share with folks, because of the remarks about the shelter list, I know our faith community works together to provide a lot of services, and they really do that on the quiet. They don't advertise, they don't publish brochures about the services, but there is a very connected network of faith community members who provide clothing, showers, food, potentially some lodging, and I'm grateful for their efforts. Obviously, as suggested, we could do much more. I also wanted to make a few remarks as the incoming mayor. What I look forward to in the next year is perhaps a year without some great and urgent controversy. Wouldn't that be fun? And I know if we somehow have a year like that, you know, without that sort of stress, then I know we have work ahead of us that's going to involve long-term planning where we're actually looking at the big picture for our community for the years to come. And what's that going to involve? Well, it'll involve the general plan coming through from our advisory citizens committee to the planning commission and to the council. It could also involve creating a master plan and priorities for our United Laguna Preserve and those parks. Perhaps even the purchase of more parkland with the cement plant property. That's a fun idea right there. We have community members working on an improved library facility. So all of these items, you know, if we were ambitious, wouldn't it be wonderful if we can do them in a year? But I said this is long-range thinking, long-term planning, and hopefully it will get underway to some significant degree. Perhaps we'll have some new work with community impact reports. Maybe we'll rekindle the remodel plan on Ives Park. We know the wayfinding plan is going to come off the shelf and be reevaluated. So look at all that work. That's a full load for our council, our staff, and our community. And that doesn't include everything else that might come along in the everyday course of business. I also wanted to share with folks too that I would like to create some office hours. I'm not sure right now what they're going to be, but I'm anticipating some regular time at City Hall, and I'd like to do something more fun than that. And that might be, again, riding the local 24. That was a great way to see people. It might be hanging out at the farm market. Perhaps it will be taking people on walks, because that's a great way to have conversations. So keep in mind that I'll put that together and let folks know. I think it'd be fun too for me to travel out to Burbank Heights and Orchard, to the farm, out to the mobile home park. I mean, wherever I can be, that I can be accessible to people in their spot, where it isn't confined to this meeting where we have formalities and it's this time of night when a lot of people can't come. So I hope to be that available to people. I'd also like to be available to the boards of our nonprofits to understand their workings and see if there's some way I can help them in their goals, and also help market to our own communities the great services and activities that we do have here. I'm going to be available for events, you know, ribbon cuttings, meetings, fundraising, whatever people would like to consider inviting me to, please do. If I don't respond right away, please send another prompt, and I'll do as much as I can. This job is actually so fun and compelling. It's going to be a time management effort for me to get to all the places I want. And hopefully if I set up some office hours, people will know when you can regularly find me. So I look forward to that. And the 4 others of us. Great. Great. So we'll go on to see if there are any statements of conflict of interest by any council members regarding tonight's agenda. I don't see any, I don't hear any. So we'll move on to the consent calendar. I have heard from council member, the Honorable Patrick Slater. You want to remove number 4? Number 4. Are there any other items that the council would like removed from consent? Does any member of the public want to remove an item from the consent calendar? Seeing no request, then I'll look for a motion to approve items 1, 2, 3, and 5, and I'd like to read what those are. Approval of the minutes from our last meeting, November 3rd. Approval of amendments to the City of Sebastopol Employee Recognition Program Policy and Procedures, that's number 70. Approval of easement deed and agreement with the County of Sonoma for maintenance for the Laguna de Santa Rosa Trail overlap. And acceptance of a report out of update on progress to date on the city website upgrade. Is there a motion to approve items 1, 2, 3, and 5 as read?
So moved.
In a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Moved by Councilmember Jacob, seconded by Vice Mayor Glass. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Those will carry. We'll go forward with our informational programs for this evening. We have 2. And the council looks forward to these every time because they're so positive and informative, and I think they're really helpful for our community too, because we get to see all the good things that we are doing and all the good ways we are. So item number 6 is a semi-annual presentation. That's an update on the activities of our communications outreach coordinator. This is Holly Hansen right here. Holly, you'll be doing your report.
Thank you.
Oh, do you need us to move the screen back or anything? Is that
No.
gonna work?
No, Tasha and I adjusted it as best we
Okay, and our people
could.
can,
Can you guys see?
I'm good.
Okay.
You guys good on this side? Okay. Thank you, Holly.
No. I need to set my notes. Okay. Good evening, City Council and members of the public. Congratulations to our new mayor and vice mayor. My last report on community outreach efforts was about 4 months ago in July. So it's not quite a semi-annual, it's more like trimesterly. Here are some highlights of the work that we've done since the last report. And in honor of a little movie that's coming out in a couple of weeks, we're calling our latest presentation Episode 4, A New Report.
Oh, keep going. I'll remember.
I couldn't get it to work properly. This is about as good as I can do. Lights. No, don't turn the lights on.
Turn the lights on.
Yeah.
Lights on.
Yeah. All right, that's all the Star Wars today. So December, whenever it is, 18th, I think. Our task is to help promote and support the city council's goals and objectives that have been voted in, and they've been working on. Some are long-term, some are short-term. One of the ways that we work is to continue to keep the city's online presence updated with important information and news. One of the bigger projects that we're working on that Mayor Bernie mentioned earlier is we're doing a website migration and major update. We have been working with staff and department heads to look at vendors, concentrating on local vendors, and we're trying to make the website more user-friendly. We're in what we hope is the final round of interviews with 2 local vendors. Once the vendor's on board, we'll work with them to survey community members to learn more from our community about what they'd like to see on our new website. And Cheetahslow has offered to help us on this front, which will be a great help. Our other main online research outreach tool is our Facebook page. We are now over 4,000 followers, and I would like to report that that is still more than the City of Windsor or Petaluma and Rohnert Park put together, who have way more larger populations than we do and far greater economic resources. So we're very excited and happy about that, and it's not just the number of followers. This has provided the city format for engagement and two-way conversations. That's one of the great things about Facebook is that it goes both ways. We don't just throw stuff up there and promote our own agendas. Also, something that I'm very thrilled to be announcing is operational is our live stream channel, but unfortunately, there's yet another glitch in this. As soon as it goes completely, you can still, we do have a live stream channel, you can access it, there's a link on our homepage of the city website. You can see archived meetings, but the real-time meetings are not yet available, but we hope that they will be by the time our next meeting comes around. We don't just do outreach online. We are moving into the real world. We undertook a pilot program over the summer and the early fall. We had an information table at the farmers market so that there was quite a bit of material there available for people to take away with them. We had a comment box, and city council members and city staff took turns taking shifts at various, this took place over about 12 weeks. We felt that it was very successful, especially when staffed. We don't have quite the resources to staff it all the time. As I mentioned, we have a comment box. We received between 40 and 50 comment cards with questions for staff and council members, and where people provided their contact information, the city manager was able to respond to those questions. We hope to repeat this. It's not going on now because of inclement weather, but we hope to repeat it once the weather gets better again, and perhaps have a more continuous staffing for that table. On September 18th, we participated in International Parking Day, and we did that in collaboration with the Sebastopol Library, Lantern, and Friends of the Library. The purpose of Parking Day is to re-envision and start conversations about how to use public parking areas for all of the public, not just for cars. You just get people talking about that. So we took over 2 parking spaces at the library parking lot. The Friends of the Library provided some great reading material, and people were able to take books home free. Seeds, we have some apples there, as you can see, and the idea was that this is the kind of a little reading room or something. So that was about a 5-hour program, and then Mayor Slater came by and hung out in the parklet for a bit and talked to people, and also people from Lantern and Friends of the Library came by and spoke with folks as well. And we logged 43 visitors. We also try to work with local media to share city news through press releases and ads and various other materials. We are working with, to try to make Sebastopol more recognizable and presented in a professional manner. And one of the things that we resourced was this very cool removable sticker that when we do go online, it's when somebody comes across that, they'll know that they're watching City of Sebastopol. The city occasionally holds meetings off-site to make our council meetings more accessible to different members of our community. We did hold a council meeting on October 6th at Annalee High School. We conducted outreach consisting of newspaper ads and mentions, putting a notice in the Annalee newsletter, signage at the farmers market, at the youth annex, on the marquee at the Sebastopol Community Center. Mary sent out, our city clerk sent out to her very large email list, and of course it was up on the website, Facebook, and Twitter. Unfortunately, that meeting was very lightly attended, but the council got a fabulous tour of the Annalee campus by some of the Annalee leadership and learned about the leadership programs there. Coming up, we're working on, working with a group called Tomorrow's Leaders Today, and this is a leadership activity that is, they have them, I guess, all over the county and perhaps all over the country, but it's where high school juniors can explore various careers and civic opportunities. And for the very first time, there's a chapter in West County, so 36 high school juniors will converge upon our fair city on February 9th and learn about how state and local government works with county government, and our city council is going to be taking part in that activity. That is the end of my presentation.
Well, Holly, thank you. It's particularly gratifying to see our community have such a positive presence. For all the history we've had of not so positive press, this is really enjoyable to live in. So I want to see if any council members have questions or comments for Holly. I'm going to start to my right here. You guys want to make any comments, questions? How about you two? Councilmember Eder.
Well, as always, I think you're doing a great job. I love all the improvements I'm seeing. They're all things that I look forward to happening when I would look at the city website, and these things could be better, and it's happening. One technical comment I'll make is when I go to watch the videos, it's not like I watch every meeting, but when I watch the videos, the sound quality I think is pretty poor. And so I'm wondering if we can get a direct feed from the PA system into our video camera system so that we can actually hear.
We have been working on that issue, and I believe that the problem was the camera that we bought, it had to go back, and so that the cables that worked with that camera didn't work with our temporary system. But theoretically, my understanding is that when we get the correct camera back, these cables from the PA will feed directly into the camera.
Great, that would be a big improvement. So anyway, but thank you for all your hard work. It looks great.
Very well.
Thank you. Any other comments? We're good? Okay, I wanted to just make a couple suggestions, Holly, just to, one of the questions I get all the time is if there's any building in town, someone says, what's going on? The latest one is, what's going on at Foster Freeze? The fence goes up and people start asking questions. I imagine everybody else here gets the same questions. The fence went up on Kathy Austin's project. And so I was thinking it might be helpful just to have a little informational blurb, like we're building in town, something that is like pro-business and that indicates that we actually do build things in town and, things change and, things like that happen. And so I was wondering if it would be possible to just put a little news blurb and an attachment to the approved plans or something so people can see it's a restaurant that's coming, it's going to be a fish restaurant, and those kinds of details.
I totally love that, and I wanted to do that because you might remember in the newspaper when they would say, ask about this or that, and it would, every week there would be something, and I would love to do that on Facebook, and I think that's a fabulous thing to do.
It would just be fun, and I think you would know the decorum that goes with that to ask the owners or something, however that works out, so they're not surprised with the extra publicity. I also was thinking, because I'm asked this question, it'd be fun to have a little handout about the formula business ordinance. People say, how's that going to affect me, or how's that going to affect business in town? And there's a lot of, I think, concerns that becomes anxiety and then spins into misinformation that gets circulated, and then people make conclusions and get upset. And so it might be really smart just to have a little simple 1 page or a third of a page or something that says, here's what the ordinance is, or here's how it may affect you. I don't want to draft it, but I think that'd be great to have as a handout, have available at the Chamber of Commerce, have at City Hall, if that could fit in your workload. Okay? All right, so let me...
Excuse me, Mayor, the planning director and I will also work on that. We had something similar when we had the interim ordinance.
That would be great, and I was counting on you guys too, and I'm sure Holly was as well. Thank you. Thank you to our city manager for jumping in there. Okay. Let's see, would anyone from the public like to speak about this informational report? Seeing no one come forward, then I'll check with the council. Any last comments? Thank you, Holly. Thank you. Yeah. All righty. So Tasha's about to start, and what I want to do is get through this informational presentation and then go back to item 4. In my nervousness, I forgot to pull this one forward as a discussion item off consent calendar and deal with it quickly. So I'd like to go back to that after we have Tasha here on item number 7. This is a presentation updated the activities of Chitaslo Sebastopol. Welcome, Tasha.
Fine. Okay, let's see if I can get this to be presented. There we go. All right, it's a little rhomboid, but Sebastopol's working, so we're okay. I'm delighted to be here today to talk about the mid-year report from Chitaslo Sebastopol. And this is the, what we might call the nonprofit community development wing of the city government. Here because Sebastopol is part of the international network of slow cities. If I could real quickly just have all of the Chitaslo folks stand up. These are all 100% volunteers who are here. Marty, you still here? Marty, stand up here, volunteer. Who are helped to make this program. We have several initiatives that we're working on. Our biggest ones are Walking Initiative and Ecotourism. The Walking Initiatives, we've been working quite a bit with Sebastopol Walks, which concluded 8 wonderful years of monthly docent-led walks. So taking people on tours, walking tours around Sebastopol, meeting once a month, and there's a leader. They've decided to hang up their walking shoes, but are going to move on to the internet. And what we've done is set up a program called Favorite Walks, where the community is invited to contribute a themed walk. So anybody in the community can say, this is my favorite walk, and propose it, and the Sebastopol Walks team will work with them to put together a map, and it will be then self-guided and downloadable at any time on the website. So we're hoping to build that over the course of the next year. We're excited to be collaborating with that wonderful organization. We are working with the Pedline, which started, we did a pilot program last year, and these are 3 self-guided tours that are focused on visitors, but that's not the only group. You know, plenty of locals really enjoyed this. And in the pilot project, we found 62% of the participants said that, in fact, they had walked instead of driving as a result of this program. 72% actually went into a restaurant or store or other venue that they would not have done if they had not been for this program. And 82% reported having conversations that they would not have had it not been for this. So we felt like we, hit a grand slam there in terms of that program, and we're excited to be making it permanent. We're working with Sue Labouvie of Studio L'Image. She is working on the wayfinding developments, enhancements with the planning department. And so we will be doing wayfinding in terms of the kiosk, informational kiosk is going to incorporate these routes. We are going next week up to Caltrans to talk about an encroachment permit, because in order to put up signs, and we don't want signs on poles, we decided to follow the model of Ukiah, which is to have signs on the sidewalk. Signs on poles confuse cars, because they think it's for them. It's like, no, sometimes we need to point people in an opposite direction than traffic is going. So it will be sidewalk signs, much like the little decals that you see with the stormwater drain, kind of metal, 4 or 6 inch, like that. So in order to have those sidewalk signs in the areas that are Caltrans property, we need an encroachment permit from them. So we're excited that we're on their agenda, and we're meeting with them next week to find out what's involved. That's progress. And then we hope that we will have their approval by the spring, and the plan is to collaborate with the Sebastopol Center for the Arts to do a call for artists to actually design the sidewalk signs. And then we will have them in place by late spring and the tourist season. So that's where we are with that. In addition, we're working with, to apply for membership in the Walk Friendly Communities Network. This is a national network of 65 communities and growing. And these are communities of all sizes that are trying to be more pedestrian friendly. And what this will do, it's quite an intense assessment, and we have a wonderful student intern, Molly Rink, who is, she's in Minnesota right now, otherwise we'd be here giving her a big round of applause, because she's been working with our fantastic staff. They have been very generous with their time, filling out an assessment of our town in terms of our pedestrian friendliness, planning, engineering, enforcement, education, evaluation. We will then be given a score on these domains by a collaboration that's put together by the Center for Disease Control, the U.S. Highway Administration, University of North Carolina is very big in traffic safety, and FedEx. So this is a private-public collaboration, and then they will be giving us suggestions based on the areas where we are strong and the areas where we aren't so strong, about evidence-based interventions, things that have actually been proven to work. Not just it's a good, sounds like a good idea, but it's actually been proven to work elsewhere in the country. And then we can network with those other cities that have done these things. This will also give us more oomph for getting some grants. That we have this group saying this is the thing to do and this is evidence-based, delivers results. So we're very much in favor of that, and then are very excited because Molly and her work came across an America Walks micro grant that we applied for to see if we could maybe get the headline markers paid for. So we will be by the end of the year, and we love her energy. She's right in there. Very strong walk advocate. Our other big initiative is ExperienceSebastopol.com, which is the city's visitor website. Okay. This grew out of the ecotourism open house that we did, which was asking the community what were they concerned about in terms of if Sebastopol were to become an eco-tourist destination, and what were the opportunities. And so we actually went to the community and asked them to talk about what they were happy about with Sebastopol, what they were really proud of, and where they took visitors. And we developed then a website based on the community feedback. All of the graphics are donated by local businesses and artists and nonprofits. It's really been quite a wonderful collaboration. We have brochures. There are some there that are on the back, Experience Sebastopol brochures that are wonderful. Debbie Morris, she's owns Patisserie Angelica. She's our networking coordinator, and she is out there in the community being sure that all the businesses that want a brochure can have a canister full, and we will fill it at any time. And it focuses on the things people said that they loved, which was that the food is organic, the people are creative, healing arts abound, and nature is nearby. That was the 4 themes of our tourism focus. So we have been promoting that in hotels in Sonoma and Marin County, as well as our local businesses, and we have Experience Sebastopol banners now. And these are up along Highway 12 and Petaluma Boulevard, outside the 2 hotels, and certainly on McKinley Street in Lamarlo and at the Plaza Gazebo. What we are finding, and periodically they go up at other places as other seasonal banners come down. But this is the city's visitor website, and we're finding, interestingly, we do believe that these banners are having an impact all the way around, as well as these other things that we're doing. Google Analytics here, where we don't have like coupons people are turning in to tell us, I came here because of this website, but we can approximate some, interesting behaviors from how people are on the web. So starting July 1, we did 3 big things. We put a link on the city website, banners went up, and brochures went out in hotels. And you can see there's suddenly this big leap. We get about 75 to 100 hits a week during the So this is the 3rd quarter of the year, which is a prime visitor time. 559 sessions, or I'm sorry, 1,559 sessions, 15% were return visitors. So what that means from a web analytics point of view, they like what they saw when they come back. And I'm imagining one person in the partnership was doing the investigation of a potential place to go for their vacation and said, hey, honey, and comes back that night and says, here's what I saw. Okay? It's that type of a thing. You know, when you see return visitors, that's probably what it means. The average time that people spend on the website out of that 1,500 was 2 minutes. That is an eternity on the web. If you think about your own time on any given website on the web, people go through quickly. You know, it's most common to stay a minute or less. If they're staying 2 minutes, they're finding things they really like. So I just took the top 100 visitors by time, just to give you a sense. So someone in Redwood City stayed on for an hour. Maybe they got a phone call, you know, maybe it wasn't that compelling that they were watching for an hour. But as we go down at, you know, number 75, you know, the 75th person there, were 3 different visits from Cupertino for 11 minutes each. At the 50 visit mark was 2 visits from Eugene at 6 minutes each. At 25 mark was 11 visits from the city of Chicago. Not all the same people, just people in Chicago, at an average of 3.5 minutes each. And then by the time you get to, you know, the bottom of that top 100 list, there were 16 visits that took that spot at a little over, well, not more than a little, just a little under 3 minutes. So you can see the range of what's happening here, and people are engaging. The number 2 most visited page, you know, beyond the homepage was the Plan Our Trip. So that's another indication of, hey, you know, people are actually thinking about taking action here. I did ask Anna Kwong what the transient occupancy tax, how it compared to last quarter. It's up 8.5%. I'm sorry, not last quarter, to the third quarter last year. Much as I would love to say, that's the experience at Festival.com campaign, there's a whole lot of things it could be. You know, anything from other people that were advertising, the Barlow's doing astounding advertising in New York and San Francisco, you know, all kinds of places. And you know, who knows what some of our festivals, what kind of advertising they were doing. There could be more rooms, there could be just the economy's better, but I have to say that experienceofbasketball.com kind of hurting us without any stretch of the imagination. We did also collaborate with the Chamber. They came to us with a possibility to go in on a Go Escape ad. It's a winter publication from USA Today. So the Chamber, the Sebastopol Downtown Association, and Chictasaw Sebastopol were the primary players there. And the second picture there is what happens. The ad sends people to SebastopolUSA.com, which is a joint landing page that had Sebastopol Community Cultural Center, Sebastopol Center for the Arts, Farm Trails. Many people kind of participated and bought their swear on the quilt, if you will, to encourage people to come and see what there is to see here in Sebastopol. Our other projects, we are working very strongly with the city staff, working on the city business directory, and certainly helping in planning, as Holly said, to help with the community survey. That is kind of our hallmark, is Chictasaw is good at surveys, to find out what do people want with the website, city website. We just concluded a time bank survey, finding out what kinds of things people would like to, services they would like to offer for time bank, or services they would like to receive in a time bank. That's kind of a trade barter kind of facilitator there in shorthand. And then we're working with Sebastopol Community Cultural Center and the Sebastopol Center for the Arts. They each independently came to me and said, we need a community calendar. And certainly that was a request from the ecotourism open house, that there just is a perception that there's no one place. So we hope that we can create one that is on the city website, but also we're creating it in a way that it could be in many different websites. It will be a very shareable calendar that people can embed. So that's our project, and that's our team. They're with our mascot, Lily. So if there are any questions, happy to answer them.
Well, let's check. It's remarkable what a volunteer group can do. And I think the city gets great support and great help and great expertise from all the Chictasaw volunteers. Let's see if there are any comments or questions on this side. It's Member Eder.
Yeah, the amount of work output and energy and exuberance on behalf of all volunteer group is amazing, you know, and and you've gotten some really tangible things accomplished. The business directory, I mean, that's kind of like a no-brainer, and that's needed to be done forever. And so it's great to see it done. Your efforts to get people out, walking around and engaging, very commendable. So I just hope you guys don't burn out, because you're going at a really fast pace, but I really appreciate all your efforts. So thank you.
Vice Mayor Glass?
Well, thank you for all your efforts, and they're incredibly impressive. And I just wanted to let you know I was in a conversation last week with a multimedia production company in Los Angeles that is going to be, well, actually has produced a lot of videos about the coastal trail in Southern California. And so that's kind of how I ended up talking with them. And I said, oh, well, I'm from Sebastopol. And I started telling them about our walking program and all the things that Chittislow has done and our tourism website. And so this is like a major production company that primarily does work with KCET, which is the public broadcasting station in Los Angeles. So they went to all of our sites and they were really impressed. And this is like LA people. You know? So they were very excited, and I'm actually going to LA to meet with them next week on my other half, my day job. But they're very interested in linking with our city because they produced a website for a program called Everybody Walks. It was actually underwritten by Kaiser Permanent, and they're the people who did that site and did all the multimedia stuff with that. And after they saw our stuff, they said, oh, you're ideal. We should be like bringing what's going on in Sebastopol into our site, which is actually a national site. So they're pretty excited. They thought we were impressive. Our little town from our volunteers.
We are. Okay, how about you guys over here? Any comments or questions for Tasha and Chittislow?
Thank you. Good work.
Thank you. Thank you. So I just had one comment I wanted to share with you. We had a friend from the East Bay come up to go kayaking, and he just had to stop at Sebastopol Hardware. I mean, it was on his map of something in town he had to do to go shopping at Sebi Hardware. And he commented to us, towns like this don't exist anymore. It's from the East Bay, you know, where, I don't know, everybody lives on their computer and buys through Amazon. He says, towns like this don't exist anymore. This place is really real. You know, that's us. That's us. I mean, how about that, you know, right from the Bay Area commenting on us. Let me check, Tasha, and see if there's anybody from the public who would like to comment or ask questions. If you can come to the microphone and give us your name and address if you're willing. And if it's a question, we'll get all the comments and then let Tasha answer.
Dave Orr, I live in, on Ramsey Road off Highway 12. I just had a question about the occupancy tax. Is that based on just hotels and motel types of or does that include any of the new ways that people come to town and stay, like
Airbnb.
Airbnb, those types of things?
Right.
Probably an on-the-phone question.
I was gonna say that's a good question for our staff, and we'll get to it in a minute, but does anyone else want to come and comment at the mic on this item? Alrighty, so let me check and see. To our planning director, Mr. Webster, you want to take that one?
Yes, to the extent that they register with us, get a business license or use permit, depending on the type of facility it is, they are subject to a 10% TOT tax. Yes, we do have some that have done that.
Roughly how many?
I don't know offhand.
So if you have a question or a comment, would you come to the mic, please? Right, we can't do this across the room thing. It gets out of hand pretty fast. And it's really tempting. The lights up? We have a request for the lights to be turned up. Somebody in the back of the room, please help. Thank you, Derek.
Very
Yes, sir.
quick on the VRBO, Airbnb issue, there's about 12 to 15 minutes in Sebastopol. I looked at 2 sites, and at that moment, that's what there was there, and the numbers fluctuate. And, you know, some cities now have convinced Airbnb and VRBO to actually collect the taxes and forward the taxes and the fees.
Thank you
But you
for,
might like to know that, maybe you know already.
well, thank you for that information. I think this is an issue in our future that we'll probably be dealing with. Okay, last call. Let me see if anybody else wants to come up. Any other council comments? I think we have a heartfelt thank you to all of the Cheetah Slow volunteers, and to be sure you take care of yourselves so that you keep this high energy going in your creativity. I know staff really appreciates all that you do too. Thank you. Well, listen, I know. That's fun. Let's see, I have to rewind a little bit and go back to item number 4. I apologize, I just flew right over that. And I want to acknowledge that the Honorable Patrick Slater took this off calendar, and you, but yeah, I think we'll let you go and we'll have a staff report. We should have a staff report first, sorry. Henry, do you want to take that?
Is this working?
Yeah, this is our 2015 local street repair list.
What staff wanted to ask for tonight was approval to enter into a contract with Argonaut Constructors to do spot paving repairs throughout the city on the city-owned streets. There was a $450,000 supplied in via the capital improvements plan for local street repairs. That money was accumulated over time from several sources. Approximately $154,000 of that money came from the Measure M sales tax funds that come via the Sonoma County Transportation Authority. And then the balance of $296,000 came from our street reserve from the special sales tax, just to give you an idea where the money's coming from. Originally, the project was contemplated to have a number of spot repairs to pavement and then a number of slurry repairs to seal the pavement. And when the city went through the bidding process some time ago, that didn't work out. I'm not sure I know all the circumstances, but the decision was made to rebid the work as 2 separate projects. And the idea was to do the spot repairs now so that we could take advantage of some slow time in the winter for somebody to do the work, and then do the slurry seals come late winter, early spring. So we went through our city engineer prepared a bid package. It was based on a survey of our streets that was done by a company called PES some time ago. They did an extensive measure and test of our streets and came up with a comprehensive list of what needed to be fixed. They basically put it in several categories. Least invasive repair was some crack repairs, some crack seals. Next list, less invasive, was the slurry seals. Third was the spot repairs, which involves digging out a section of pavement, putting the pavement back in. And then fourth was a list of streets where the pavement was so far deteriorated, the only real answer was total replacement. And out of that report, our city engineer put together a list of approximately 260 places that were worthy of spot repairs or the crack seal on top of it. And that is the contract we're talking about. We put it out for bid. We had 4 respondents. Prices ranged from a low of just under $240,000 to a high of just around $392,000. The bid was made up in 2 parts. We gave contractors an original list of places that needed repair, and then we had an alternate bid, which was additional spaces, and our thinking was that way we could maximize our money. And actually, we're pretty pleased with the way the bids came in. The slurry part, the part 2, a basic assumption was that about 2/3 of the money would go to the spot repairs and about 1/3 would go to the slurry. The way the money works out is with the $240,000 contract price, which includes both the original batch of work plus the alternative, that would still leave us $200-some thousand left over for the slurry, which is way in advance of what we thought that would be. So we look like we're okay on the money side of things. I've had some questions about, why small repairs, or what about this street or that street? It is my understanding that the council and the city went through this before, and the decision was made to do this spot repair and the slurry repairs because we'll get the biggest bang for our buck. I know some of you asked me about Willow Street, for example. Horrible street, I drive on it a lot because I go to the post office. And the bill for that, if we were to repair just the section from High Street to Jewel, which is just a paved part, because the lower part by the post office is concrete, it's not pavement, would be about $300,000, just to give you some perspective. And we did a quick estimate on that based on what we just got the prices from DD Avenue, so it's in a real-time numbers. So with that, if there's any questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Slater does have questions.
Yes. Well, it's more of a clarification for council members as well as the public on this item. What we're looking at here is the item under base bid and going with the lowest bidder at, round up to 197,000, and then the bid alternate of roughly 43,000. What we're looking at there is that the base bid is for spot repairs and repaving. The bid alternate is also for spot, and correct me if I have this wrong, this is my understanding, is also for spot repairs and repaving. Everything, the balance of the $450,000 then will be devoted to slurry, which we are not looking at any of those locations here tonight. That will come back to council
That's correct.
in the future with a new bid package.
That's correct. Yeah, our plan is to put out a bid package after the turn of the year, so that by the time wet weather ends, we can be ready to go.
So will the list of streets come before us prior to the bid package going out?
We hadn't planned on it, but if that's your desire, it's certainly doable.
I think we might like to do that, I don't know. That would be my feeling, is that I'd probably like to take a look at it first. And so the hope is that we can accomplish, well, it looks like what we're able to do here is the significant repaving and spot repairs in both the base and the bid alternate, as well as doing a strong effort towards the slurry to protect the streets that we have that are currently in good condition, to keep them that way rather than have them fail like Willow and Keating.
Could I offer some perspective?
Please.
Yeah, looking at what Sue Kelly, my predecessor, wrote in the CIP plan, we're currently rated in the good range, but less than what the optimum for the region is supposed to be as far as pavement condition index, PCI. She figured that in order for us to just keep even with the pavement, we have to spend about $600,000 a year. Anything less than that, we're going to start seeing deterioration over time. And I think what's interesting is that as a Johnny come lately and look at the numbers, you know, with the $240,000 that this contract would be, with roughly 120, 130 that the slurry contract should be more or less, with the money we spent on Keating, it adds up to about $595,000. So I think it's really good news for the city that there's our target, that at least we've started to stem the tide. I feel like the Dutch boy with his finger in the dike. The other point I wanted to make was that, yeah, there's a temptation with spending a lot of money in one place. The problem is that, and I think the advantage of doing these spot repairs is you preserve those pavements and save money in the long run because you're fixing it the cheapest way possible. If you don't fix it and it goes on, and it turns into a well. And I think that needs to be recognized from the public. That's part of the choice that's made.
Right, that's our strategy right now, and we still have Willow and probably other streets that are that deteriorated that we're really worried about because the cash flow isn't necessarily in our future to do everything we want to do. Right, so let's check out other questions. Staff? Yeah?
I'm concerned about the council taking the time to pick what streets we think should be slurry sealed, rather than understanding that there's a staff process for reviewing the current condition and a process that those streets are appropriately prioritized. Can you tell us a little bit about
All I
how
know
that
is
works and if the council needs to specifically go in?
the list already exists because it was part of that survey that PES did back a while ago. It was part of that first bid that was done. So the list, we could copy it tomorrow.
All right, let me just look to the public. Does anyone want to comment on this item? This is number 4 that was taken off consent. Everybody must be here for something else. Okay. Ready. So then, we are looking for more comments? Councilmember Davis.
I wanted to thank the Spassville citizens for passing Measure R and Measure Y to create sales tax revenue, to allow the budget subcommittee to find these funds to maintain our streets. The money doesn't just come from nowhere, and it does take a lot of money to maintain our streets, to support our cars, to destroy the environment. So together, we do great things. So thank you, everybody, for making this happen.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor Glass.
And I would like to concur with Councilmember Jacob and also point out that badly paved and rutted streets are actually even more dangerous for bicycles than for cars. So maintaining our streets so that people can ride bikes on them is important as well.
We have challenges ahead, I think. So then, I will look for a motion approving our 2015 local street repairs as per the packet.
So moved?
Thank you, council members. Slater, in a second.
A second?
By the vice mayor, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, that will carry.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Thank you, Henry.
Yes, I'm looking at the street.
Hey, we're doing the clapping thing tonight, but it could be a new day the next meeting, aren't we? Don't be so exuberant. Alrighty, so, let's see, we have number 8 coming up. And this will be an item by our police chief. This is a discussion and action item of his traffic calming measures and recommendations. Chief.
Madam Mayor, thank you. As the council knows, from time to time, the city of Spassville receives requests for red zones and loading zones and stop signs, and those requests are funneled to the police department. We evaluate them and we bring those to the city council about twice a year. This is a report of 6 different items. What we've done historically, Madam Mayor, is take each item individually, brief staff report, feedback from the public, and a vote on each one. Is that acceptable?
I think that's a great way to do it, one at a time, Chief.
Okay, so our first item is a request to create a no parking zone on the south side of Walker Avenue. As it heads out of the city maintained street, it becomes very thin. So the south side has a sidewalk adjacent to Pedlum Avenue homes. The sidewalk ends, and then it becomes kind of a single lane. And we've had a request from people who live further east from that. Historically, they say, people haven't parked there. They park adjacent to the curb, and then they don't park where the curb ends, and people can access that area easily. But of late, vehicles have started to park there, and they're concerned about their own ability to access the further east end of Walker, and especially the ability of fire trucks and ambulances to get past the parked vehicles. So police staff met with the neighbors there. The fire chief came, and he felt that it needed to be made a no parking zone as well to ensure that his engines could get out into the field behind Sonoma West Medical Center and out to the homes that are there. So it's our request to create a no parking zone, in essence a fire lane, on the south side of Walker eastward from where the curb ends now.
Thank you. Did everyone follow that eastward and all? Yeah, so let's hear, are there questions of the chief? Pardon me? No. Alrighty, let's see, yes?
With there being no curb, this will be done with signs only?
Yes, sir. We plan to put a sign that says, no parking this side of street begin, and maybe 1 or 2 further, but they're telling us it's just at the start where 1 or 2 vehicles park. So we should only displace 1 or 2 parking spaces, and it shouldn't take much more than 2 or maybe 3 signs.
Okay.
Okay, so let me open this up to the public. Did anyone want to comment on this one? This is the first request in agenda item number 8 concerning Walker Avenue. Seeing no one come forward, then we'll bring this back to the council. Any other discussion? No, we're good. Then could we have a motion to authorize Public Works to establish the no parking zone as per the chief's recommendation in the report?
Also moved.
Moved by Councilmember Jacob, and a second.
I'll second.
Seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstention, that will carry. We're on to request number 2, Chief.
Thank you. This is a request from a business owner on Morris Street. Basically, the two northern driveways of the Morris Street Industrial Complex, basically right across the street. One of them has a red zone on one side, but not on the other. The other driveway has no red zones on either side, and it's challenging for people driving out of either of those driveways to see oncoming cars. And so the request was, and our recommendation is, to create red zones on both sides of both driveways. Again, one already has a red zone, so just need another on the other side. The other would be both sides.
Okay, we got that one. Any questions of the chief? Any comments from the public on request number 2, Morris Street? Seeing none, then I'll look for a motion to approve the chief's recommendation and direction to Public Works.
I so moved.
Thank you. Motion by Vice Mayor Glass, and a second. Seconded by Councilmember Jacob. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, that will carry. We'll go on to request number 3. This is Laguna Parkway.
Yes, ma'am. We've received a request from the people at Spirit Works Distillery and seconded by the Barlow Property Management. They have a driveway off Laguna Parkway at 6790 Laguna Parkway, and people are not supposed to park adjacent to the driveway because there are parking Ts, and the Ts end on either side of the driveway, so people should be parking within those parking Ts, but some don't because the curb is not red, so they probably think it's an okay place to park, and that creates a problem for passenger vehicles, but certainly for delivery vehicles to get in and out of that driveway safely. So they're requesting we simply paint red the area that's not supposed to be a parking space anyway.
Alrighty, any questions of the chief on this? This is request number 3. Seeing none, let's look if anyone from the public would like to comment on this item concerning Laguna Parkway. No one coming forward. I'll look for a motion following the chief's recommendation authorizing Public Works per the staff report. Moved by Councilmember Jacob, and a second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Slater. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, that carries.
Not getting excited, everyone.
Okay, we're on to request number 4. This is Bodega Avenue. So let's just check, so that we know before the chief does his report. How many people are here on this item? We got quite a few, okay. How many want to speak, just so we know? Couple, already. Before we do this, chief, I want to disclose to council members in the public, I met with neighbors in regard to this matter. I think one of my responsibilities as a council member is to help people navigate through city government and understand who to talk to and how to make requests and be effective as neighborhood organizers or neighbors talking about issues. So I've worked with a group, and then we went on and met with the chief, and he has a recommendation here, request number 4 and 5.
So basically, we're already request number 4. Bodega Avenue is obviously the major east-west thoroughfare through the city of Sebastopol. As long as I've worked here, we've had concerns about speeding, and that goes back to 1989. The city has done a lot. There's an electronic speed awareness sign as you come into the city on what we call the grassy knoll, where all the signs are, in front of Burbank Heights. We lowered the speed limit in front of Burbank Heights, made it a senior center, created some respite islands to allow people a place to safely land going across the street. We tried to do our best to enforce the law in that area as much as we possibly can, but we still continue to receive expressions of concern regarding vehicle speeding on Bodega Avenue. Our Speed Spy, which the Speed Spy is a data collection device that we put up, but people don't know that it's there, and it records the number of cars that travel and the speed at which they are traveling. It doesn't capture, there's no pictures, there's no enforcement, it doesn't record license plates, it's just raw data. This many cars went this fast during this period of time. And so we use that to get an honest assessment of how speeding is in response to citizen complaints. And we did that on Bodega, between Washington and Robinson, and the speed limit compliance was terrible. Over 95% of the cars were traveling faster than the 25 mile per hour zone, or 25 mile per hour speed limit. So in meeting with neighbors, and this is something that I've felt would be effective for some time, would be to install additional electronic speed awareness signs like the one we recently put in across from Annalee High School as you come into the city, one for eastbound, one for westbound traffic. So the idea would be that they would be there to alert motorists to their speed. Most drivers lower their speed to get below the speed limit so the thing doesn't flash at you. I mean, the speed awareness sign flashes when you're speeding, and so most people, as they come in and they're speeding, they'll get either below the speed limit or closer to it, rather than have that thing flash your speed. So the request from the neighbors